Hello, everybody. This is part 6, I believe. This is going to be the last teaching on the series. This is biblical giving. We have been talking about the tithe and how it's not biblical to tithe the way we tithe today. Father wants you free to be able to give from the heart. So we start with the New Testament because that's what we are. We're New Testament saints. We're not Old Testament people. We are New Testament saints. The Old Testament is fine to read and you get some truths out of, but we do not live under the Mosaic law. But to teach New Testament teachings, we have to start with one of the best places to start is Acts. After Christ had died and resurrected and began a new covenant, and Acts chapter 2, the church really was born, so to speak, when the promise was fulfilled and the Spirit of God was sent to the earth, right? And then man, Acts chapter 2. You can't find them ever casting lots again. In Acts chapter 1, they were casting lots. Acts chapter 2, you can see that they're led by the Spirit of God, because now it says, they that are led by the Spirit of God are the sons of God, not by casting lots. So we have the church established. And Acts chapter 10, Cornelius, he's praying, fasting, seeking after the Lord. And Acts chapter 10, verse 30, Cornelius replied and said, 4 days ago, I was fasting and I was praying here at my house at this very hour, and about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then a man all of a sudden appears in radiant clothing. I'm going to stop right there and camp right there. Radiant clothing. Glistening, shining, radiant clothing. So many people are against, nice clothes. Because Peter said, it's not with the adorning. Well, no, it's really the heart of the matter. You can have nice clothes. Heaven is full of nice clothes. A man just appeared in radiant, glistening, shiny clothing. And take a note of what he says to Cornelius. This is important. He says, Cornelius, God has heard your prayers. Your generous gifts to the poor, or your alms to the poor, has been recorded and remembered in God's presence. You want to get heaven's attention? Notice he didn't say anything about your giving the tithe or anything like that. What did he say? Your prayers, talking to Father, and your gifts to the poor. You want to get Father's heart? There you go, right there. That's it right there. Man, that's exciting right there. You want to know Father's heart? That's freedom right there. Helping the poor, talking to Father, fellowshipping. Now, the next time we can see in 2 Corinthians, and I want to clear up something while I'm here. 2 Corinthians 8 and 9, Paul is taking up an offering for the saints in Jerusalem. And he was talking about how the churches in Macedonia, even though they were struggling and suffering, they were still filled with joy to give. I believe I said for the hurting saints, but it's actually for the hurting saints in Jerusalem, not Macedonia. Macedonia was a part of the givers. And you can see in 8:12, it says, that the gift is fully acceptable to God according to what you have, not what you don't have. So it's not the size of the gift. It's what you can give with what you have. Remember the mite that the widow gave? Jesus said she gave more. In chapter 9, it says he says that there's no need to write to you about your contribution or your gifts to the believers in Jerusalem. So these are hurting saints, and this is contributions, not a tithe. So he goes, I know you're already on board to help. I know you want to help. I keep boasting to the churches in Macedonia about your passions to give. So this is Father's heart. You want to help people by giving. Giving directly to hurting people is Father's heart. Verse 5 talks about not giving under pressure, but out of the abundance of the heart. Verse 6 talks about a stingy sower will reap a meager harvest. That goes in all aspects of life, everything of life. If you're stingy with it, you're going to reap a meager whatever. That's every principle of life. It's work, that's giving, that's living. I mean, that's everything. If you're stingy, you're going to reap that particular harvest of nothing. The harvest of nothing. That'd be a great name for a song, huh? Anyway, let your heart on your gift flow together. Not out of a sense of religious duty, but let it spring up freely, joyfully, wanting to help. Don't be religious about it. Then it goes on and talking about how Father will give you the stuff you need to give if you're a giver. If you're a giving person and you want to help people and you want to give to needy people, he'll give you the things. I'm reminded when the Lord one time asked me to give to a certain minister who needed to go to Panama, and he just didn't have the money for a plane ticket. And he said to me, go give him the money for the plane ticket. And I was like, I don't have the money. I don't have the extra money. But I will if I get the extra money. Well, that particular week, I started a new job the next week, and I made quadruple what I normally make. So I had the money to go give it to him, and I went and gave it to him. Anyway, I'm just saying that's the way the Lord works. If you have a giving heart, he'll make the seed available, whatever seed that may be, whether it be food, money, a car, time, prayer, whatever it is, Father will make it available to you so you could get it to the person that he needs you to get it to, your world. Paul goes into some instructions in 1 Corinthians 16, because we're in 2 Corinthians and Paul is talking about the aftermath per se. But he's now concerning the collections. I want you to take up for God's believers in Jerusalem that are in need. I want you to follow the same instructions that I gave to the assemblies or the people in Galatia. That every Sunday, each of you make a generous offering, or the first day of the week. Make an offering. Take a portion of what God has blessed you with and place it in the safekeeping. A portion. No tithe or tenth mentioned here. Then he said, then I won't have to make a special appeal when I come. When I will arrive, I will send your gift to the poor, along with an explanation carried by those whom you approve. So you see that he's taking up an offering for the hurting people. He says, as you can give, as God has blessed you, just put something aside for some hurting people. No tenth is mentioned. And then he talks about giving directly to the hurting people. Today, people come and give money to an organization. The organization, first off, has to pay for mortgages, salaries, expenses, before it ever gets to the hands of the hurting. And if it ever gets, I was ministering one time on TV, and there was the guy who was running the booth come up to me and said that he was a pastor for 10 years at a particular denominational church. And he said, if we ever gave to the hurting, I never seen it. He said that, in our books, we never gave to the hurting folks. When the people came and laid the money down at the apostles' feet, the apostles didn't have a revelation to go pay salaries and build buildings. What was the first thing they did with the money? They gave to those in need. That's Father's heart. That's Father's heart, to give to people who need, to help one another, to love one another by doing. Sometimes all we have is words of encouragement, which is fine. Sometimes all we have is a place you can come lay your head down. But whatever we have, like Peter said, silver and gold I don't have today, but I'm going to give you what I do have. So we can see Father's heart is really giving to people. That's his church. People are the church, not a place or things. I'm going to keep saying it until this body goes back to the dirt, whatever. I'm going to keep saying it. The church is not a place, but a race. And to penetrate, if you really want to see Father get blessed by your giving, follow New Testament examples. I personally would love to see my giving come up and bless Father, like Cornelius did, helping the poor. The reason for the teaching. What is the reason for the teaching? The teaching is to set the captives free, to set people at liberty, that Christ died to give us that liberty, that we are free in Christ. And the grace of God teaches us to help one another. The grace of God teaches us not to sin. Well, we need the grace of God for everything. The unmerited, unearned love and mercy of Father, the grace of God. He wants us to help one another. He wants us to be a family. He wants us to iron sharpen iron. He wants us to teach one another and to love one another, to help one another. Not with just words on Sunday morning, but with a lifestyle of whatever we can help with. Don't be in condemnation. If you don't have it, you just don't have it. Father knows that. Don't get down and out. Just ask. Lord, you said you'd give seed to the sower. I want to help such and such, or I want to help such and such. If you give me the extra money, I will help them and see what happens. I hope this blesses you, and I hope it helps you. God bless you guys.